Hi, well today I'm out of the workshop working on the car and I've got another little job to do. This one I've done quite a few times before and I do get asked how to do this particular job many times during the day at my day job. So today this is our challenge. A toilet. Okay, so no, we're not going to fit a new toilet. The challenge is the toilet seat, and it doesn't look too bad because I do have to do this particular toilet seat as it's our works toilet seat, probably once every 9 months, I guess, something like that. And what happens is this: the inside of it, or the underneath of it, is extremely stained. You can see it's got this brown stain all around the edge. Actual fact, this one isn't too bad today. It's very minor. I've seen customers come and see me with toilet seats which, to be honest with you, look absolutely disgusting, and they are covered in brown stain all around the back, all around the lid, the inside of the lid, particularly on the edges. And everybody thinks the same thing. They think, oh, it's obviously a toilet, and that is what's going to happen because of what it's used for. But of course, that actually isn't necessarily what it's about. These stains, I believe, are mainly caused by the chemicals that we put into the toilet pan, and then the fumes rise up and therefore affect the toilet seat plastic, giving this horrible brown disgusting stain look. And people come and see me all the time and say, I need a new toilet seat because it's disgusting. And okay, fine, if they want to buy a new toilet seat, then that's fine. But some toilet seats, for example this one is a Victra S20 toilet seat. Standard one, not a soft close one. Retail on that, I'm guessing now, is probably, well, £80. It could be more than that. So that's a lot of money to spend on a toilet seat when probably you don't need to. So the question is this: how do we clean and remove these brown stains and try and get this old toilet seat looking like new again? So the first thing we need to do is remove the toilet seat if possible. Now this one does have a quick release mechanism on it. Not all toilet seats do, particularly earlier ones, and they're screwed on from underneath. Now my advice would be that if it's fixed on the pan and it's not moving around, leave it where it is and do this process while it's still on the pan, because otherwise you could just be opening a can of worms and just a load more problems. So if you don't know how to take the seat off, or it's looking really rusted underneath, just leave it where it is and work on it. But on this particular toilet seat, I'm lucky because it's got some quick relief buttons. And what we do is you push both buttons in, assuming that they both work, and the toilet seat is easily removable. Now this seat does come off every, as I say, probably every 9 months. So I know that the quick release mechanism works well, but if yours has never come off, they can be very hard and get stuck. So again, my advice would be leave them alone, don't break anything, and do this process while it's still fitted to the pan. And the pegs, well, they are generally stainless, some form of stainless steel, and they are quite easily polish upable with some chrome cleaner or Brasso, and we will do this one before we put the seat back on. Okay, so before you start to work on your toilet seat, whether you're going to take it off or leave it in situ, clean it thoroughly, obviously with soap and water, give it a good scrub, dry it off with some tissues or a towel, and then throw that away or wash it, and then remove it as I've done here, so we're ready to work on. So before you start even trying to remove the stains from your toilet seat, you need to determine best you can what the material the toilet seat is made from. Now, a lot of really cheap toilet seats are very flimsy and flexible, and I'll give you an example. This one here, with one hand I can bend that toilet seat easily. It's a very thin plastic, and even if you sit on it you can see the ring is quite naff really. This type of toilet seat, this very thin, easily scratchable as well. If you just scratch it anyway, it'll scratch very easily. I do not recommend to do the procedure which I'm going to show you to remove the stains. This type of cheap toilet seat, basically just throw it away, buy yourself another one. They're inexpensive. I think this one's about £15, and they're just not worth the aggro of trying to clean. Right, so here is another similar toilet seat to the one that we're going to be working on today. As I said, it's an S20. But this toilet seat, you will see, is some sort of injected plastic, but it's quite solid. It doesn't bend easily. It's rigid, and again, the lid, when you lift it up, there's a little bit of bend in it, but nothing like the cheap toilet seats. And this is the sort of material that we can usually work on and clean up. So I'll show you another one made from the same material. So here we go, another one. This is a blade seat, very thin. You'll see it's very thin, but again, it's a rigid plastic, not so easily to scratch, and again, that is cleanable. And these toilet seats, this hard plastic, is probably one of the most common plastic seats that you can get. I'll just show you two more. This is an RAK toilet seat. Again, this is the hard plastic, a little bit of flex in it, but not much. Again, this one happens to be a quick release, and that is cleanable. It's a wrap over toilet seat. It's got that edge on it. And this is another rack toilet seat, and again, it's solid, injecting molded of some sort, and that can be cleaned as well. So work out what material your toilet seat is. Oh, and one last word on toilet seats. If you've got a wooden toilet seat, whether it be a solid wood or a MDF wood effect seat like this one, again, you will not be able to use this cleaning method we're going to use today, and all you'll do is just destroy the seat. Particularly on these MDF ones, usually when they start to get old, they blow around the edges and basically not repairable. Fairly inexpensive to replace. Again, buy a new one. However, if you've got a solid wood toilet seat, they do tend to go white around the under of the ring. Don't use the method which you're going to use today. Not suitable. You could buy a new solid wood seat, but I think current prices for a good quality solid wood seat at the moment are probably in excess of £120, which is quite a lot of money. Your alternative is to remove your solid wooden seat, take it to someone if you're not capable or confident yourself, and get someone to maybe sand it down and revarnish it. It is a wood product, but it's worth considering, particularly if it's an unusual shape and you can no longer get the seat. So here we are, and here is the toilet seat which we are going to try and remove the brown stain. Now, the first thing you need to do after you've determined that it is of the solid plastic type is to just do a test area, because if it's an irreplaceable toilet seat and you muck it up, then obviously there's no return. So do a small test area first. Now, I use quite a few different cleaning materials and polishing materials to do this. I'm not saying you've got to have them all, but some work better than others. So start off with something. Now, I use these quite a lot, which is it's like a Scotch Brite material. I use it for cleaning paintwork, bad paintwork, and scrubbing down woodwork. It's It's almost like a sandpaper, I guess, but it's like a Scotch-Brite, I think they call it. I might be wrong, but anyway, it comes in different colours, different grades. But today I've got a red one because it's what's in my cleaning box, and we're just going to give that a little bit of a try around the edge, just to see how it goes. Okay, so in this instance you can see that the brown mark has virtually gone, just like that. It took 2 seconds, and that bit there, I'll just do you a close-up on it. So that's the bit I've just cleaned. There's the brown stain, and it's gone. Okay, there is a slight matte finish there, but in all intents and purposes it's gone. But we haven't finished the process yet, and I'd like to show you one or two other things that I also do on these toilet seats when they're really bad and this doesn't work straight away. So, second method of removing the brown stain would be the second method to remove the brown stain will be to use some wet and dry sanding paper, easily obtainable from most DIY shops or a car repair shop, but certainly DIY shops sell this stuff. This is a 80 grit, which is very, very fine, and it's a good grade to start with. Now you can use this wet or you can use it dry. At the moment I'm going to try it dry, but if you're using it quite a lot, then I would recommend you use it wet, and you can keep cleaning it as you go, and it does last a long time. So again, I'll just do this little bit here, which is slightly stained. It's not bad, but I will give it a bit of a go. Just on this corner. And it is cleaning it up. But it's not doing it as quickly as the Scotch-Brite did. You can see that it's removing. You can see that it's removing some of the plastic, and that's basically what we're doing, because the colour of these things go all the way through. And it's slowly coming up, slowly coming. So again, if you've got this in your workshop or in your toolbox, this will work. It takes a little bit longer, and it is only 800 grit. But if you use a coarser grit, obviously it will work quicker. Right, just to go to the other extreme, this is some 60 grit, so this is extremely coarse. Now this will, I'll just work on that same corner, and very, very quickly, again, it will remove the grain stain. So there you go. Again, it's a little bit rough in finish. But then what you'd do is you'd use this to get the bulk off. Now I wouldn't use this coarse grit if your stain is on the top. You could, but it will take you a very long time to get the scratches out. It will get rid of the staining, but the scratches will be quite deep. So if you've got it on a flat surface, staining around the edge here where you're going to see it, I would definitely use the 800, and then maybe go something even finer to a 1200 grit, which I've got some in my box. And that way you can, as you're working on, same as working on a car paintwork, where you start on a coarse grit, you'd work your way through to a finer grit, and in the end you'll be down to almost like a flat sheet. But that way you work the scratches all the way out. Now, going back to where we've just worked here on this corner, we've got it back looking nice and bright and white because we used the 60, so it is a little bit on the it's okay for the inside, but it needs to be smoother really. So I'll just quickly go over it with some of this 800 grit now that we've got it down to that point. Now I can feel instantly it's starting to feel a lot smoother, and the few scratches that I have put in there, to be honest, are virtually gone. And you could just leave it like that, work your way all the way around and be quite happy, and you've saved yourself some money, and that would be fine. But let's just go up to the next stage. Now, I have to do these toilet seats quite a lot, and a lot of people ask me, you know, how do you do it? And as I've said before, some of these toilet seats I've seen are quite bad. So because people don't know how to get rid of the stain, they just sort of live with it and eventually say, okay, we need a new toilet seat. And they might come and see me, and I'll tell them how much a new toilet seat is, and they crikey. So if they don't want to buy a new one, I try and advise people how to clean up their existing one. So we've gone through a couple of methods of doing it by hand. I'll now show you a couple of shortcut methods. If you've got the tools, it might be worth thinking about. Okay, so let's briefly talk about using power tools and whether they're suitable for cleaning up your toilet seat. Now, I'm lucky that I've got a workshop full of lots of different power tools, which I use all the time. And in this instance, I will show you just two options. This one is quite a large disc polisher, which I use on cars, on paintwork, and for sanding things down and whatever, and wood as well. It's got a variable speed on it, so I can slow it right down. It is quite big for the job, and you can get some really nice small ones going down to about 50 mil, fairly inexpensively on the internet, but I just happen to have this big one because I use it on cars. Now, start with, again, I'm using quite a fine, this is a 240 grit sanding disc, and on this one they just go on like that, and then I've got it on quite a slow speed. I'm going to put it up a little bit more than that. So there you go, it's on about 2. So just to show you on another bit of this edge here how quickly this will do it. I need to hold it tight as well. Right, so it will start to slide around on this bit of wood, and all I've done is I've found some cleaning pads, just ordinary cleaning pads, kitchen ones, laid them on there, put that on there, and that should, I hope, stop it sliding around. So let me just put that towards me where I want that bit there, that's it. So I'm going to go around that bit there with the machine, just lightly, gentle power, slow speed, and see what it turns out like. And that was it, and now it's taken that all the way around there to a nice bright white. I did just nip the top of that pad, but I haven't done any serious damage. I could prise them out and put them back in, but just be careful if you do, because they don't always go back in nicely, and you might have to put some glue on them to hold them in. But it's an option, you can always take them out. So now I've just gone around that edge, I'll just do that bit there as well. Gone right way around it, and to be fair, it's quite a smooth finish. It's not perfect, but it's quite a smooth finish, and certainly all that brown marker's now gone. Okay, so as I was saying, this is the Titan sander. It's a multi-tool. It's you can use it for all sorts of things, and it is ideal for doing this particular job. Ear defenders, I would say, are necessary because it is a very noisy tool. But just to quickly show you, I'll just do this end edge here, which isn't badly stained, admittedly, but it has got a little bit of stain. seconds. It's got a nice white finish to it, and actually it's very smooth as well. Virtually needs no finishing, but it's another option. Whatever tool you got, it's usable. You could use an ordinary orbital sander if you've got one in your toolbox. You could use a drill with a disc on it, but they tend to be a little bit uncontrollable unless you've got speed control. So any sanding implement really is usable, as I say, but the good old doing it by hand, as I showed you, first of all, very quick, very easy. So what's the next stage? The next stage is to try and get a slightly better finish on it. Now, normally I would have T-cut for that, but I looked in the workshop today and I couldn't find any normal T-cut. So I've got some G3 Pro scratch remover, which is similar to T-cut. It's probably a little bit coarser. This is a bit more specialised, but don't let that put you off. Ordinary T-cut from your local DIY store, the orange one. They do an orange and a blue. The orange one is fine. Quite inexpensive, very useful for various things, particularly for polishing scratches out of your car. If you haven't got any, then that's what you need for this job. You could use a specialised one if you wanted to, but it's really unnecessary. So what do we do with that? Okay, so to use the scratch remover, all you do is you put it on a bit of rag. This happens to be some fibre cloth because that's what I've got handy, and then you just use a little bit of it. I've probably put a bit too much on there, but anyway, it doesn't matter. A little bit of that to polish all round the toilet seat, and what I would probably do is go over the whole lot. Give it a good scrub round with the polish. With the scratch remover. Give it a good old scrubbing right the way around. I'm just doing this quickly because it's on the video, but it'll give you a good idea that this will take out all your minor scratches and start to make it look a bit more like new. Certainly go over the area where you've used your sandpaper, your wet and dry or whatever. Certainly go over those areas very, very intensely to get as much scratches out as you can. And the longer you spend on it, the nicer it's going to look. I say I'm only doing this one quickly just for the video, and also it's only a works toilet seat, so it's not for a customer. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be looking a little bit sensible. So go right over it everywhere. This splits out. Then you get yourself a nice clean bit of cloth, which I haven't got, so I'm just going to turn this bit of cloth over, and then you polish all of the bits that you've just taken scratches out. Now, I hope you can see on the video, I am doing this quickly, but for the sake of the demonstration, you'll see that the brown stains have now completely gone. The rest of the seat is starting to shine a bit more like new. It's not finished yet. It's getting there. So go all over your seat. Now I'm just doing the underneath part, but obviously on your toilet seat at home you want it to look really nice. I've got a little bit of staining just there still, so I'm going to go. I mean, if it's really minor staining, and it, not too bad at all, you may not need to use the sanding discs and things at all. Here I've just got some slight discoloration, and the brown stain hasn't yet formed, but I can see that it might do. So just rubbing over with this cutting compound, say your T-cut or whatever you're using, will bring that back up. And as that has just done, and it's now starting to shine. There you go, looks like new. So I'm hoping the camera will picking that up. So very quickly, not perfect, that is the next stage done. There you go. Now normally what I would do is I would go over the whole of that part there. Now can see there is a slight mark there. We'll deal with that in a minute. We could just do a little bit of that. I can see that, you can see it, but anyway, there is a mark there. I think that's where it's been lifted up and it's consistently been hit the cistern. I haven't got it all out, but I've got some of it now. And again, going right over with the scratch remover brings it back to a reasonable shine. And eventually I will do the whole thing. So I've done that bit. You want to do the seat ring and you want to do the underneath of the seat as well, which we'll just do quickly. Bring the whole thing back up to a reasonable standard, as I said. There you go, nearly done. There you go, so I've got that pretty well. That's not too bad. So just, again, really needed another clean bit of cloth, but I don't have a bit, so I'm just turning this one over for the sake of the video. There you go, and that is now coming up with a nice shine. Yeah. Now we've got one more process to do on this toilet seat to make it look really nice. Okay, so it's not bad. It's certainly a lot better than it was when I took it off. Get rid of that mark there. I think there's a bit of black ink that's come off my table. That is, I can feel it. Get rid of that. And certainly looking a lot better than it did before. Now then, what do we do to finish it off? Well, we've taken the stains off. We've gone over it with our scratch remover and we've taken that off, and for most people that would be fine, nothing wrong with that, you know, it's a nice clean toilet seat. But you may want to go to the next stage. Now the next stage would be, and I'll use those so it's not swirling around, the next stage would be to go over it with a car polish. Car polish works very good on this hard plastic. Would be to go over it with a car polish. Now I'm using Auto Glim Super Resin Polish, which I use on cars, paintwork and things. Might be a little bit expensive to buy, may not be necessary in your case to buy it at all, but a little bit of that, and that's probably a bit too much again. And again, using a clean bit of cloth, clean area of the cloth, you go over that and you give it a good polish, not just on the lid. I'm doing the lid here just to show you quickly a large area. That, now I've got rid of that mark that was there, so that was nice, and that will give you a really nice shine. There you go. Now for this is an old toilet seat. I'm guessing it's been on there for 8 years, and it's in a commercial setting. It's in our shop, so it does get used and abused. Now for a commercial toilet seat which looked pretty rough before, and I would eventually do all the inside, that's coming up pretty nice. But again, if you've got the use of various power tools, you could actually do it even quicker. And I'll just use a polishing mop like that on my polisher. Put it on slow speed again. Just a little dab of polish. Do not turn this on fast because you'll end up having polish spitting everywhere. So I'm going to put it on 1 and give it a quick dab. Lightly going over it. I have to turn the speed up just a little bit, but I'm just lightly going over the seat with that polish, good old polish. Again, I'll use the same method on the inside of the seat to get that looking a bit nicer. There's the polish applied. Just a little bit of that, don't need much of it. There, slowly go over that. There we go. Polish that up. So those are basically the 3 stages of how to clean the stains off of the toilet seat and renovate it, or a hard plastic toilet seat, for say. And it doesn't take long, even by hand it doesn't take long, and it can save yourself quite a bit of money. There we go, that's briefly it. I could spend longer on it, but I'm not going to. And then what you can do after that is, again, you can either polish it up by hand. Polish it up by hand. I'm using a dry piece, see if I can find it. I've used this quite a lot now, so there's not bad. So again, polish that up by hand. It's going up for a real nice shine. Or if you've got your quick polishing mop, or a cotton mop, actually is normally what I'd use, but I don't have the cotton mop here, so I'm going to use this one. It's a bit grubby, but use a cotton mop on one of these, and again go over to give it the final polish. Although this will work fine. There you go. And that, cutting the dust. There you go. That is starting to get a really nice shine on there. Again, you go over all parts of the seat with that, including the underside. If you've got a smaller machine, you know, you can put the polish on and you can go all around the details with it. I can do that quickly just to show you. This machine's a little bit big to do the details, but it will do it, you know, to a degree. There you go, it's not bad. It's going to need a wipe afterwards, get the dust off, and I'll just polish the top. There we go. That is how I clean a hard plastic toilet seat. Okay, so we've got our hinges there, our pegs sitting up, which I showed you earlier, and they are normally made of stainless steel, not always, but usually. So if they've gone green and everybody goes, oh, they've gone green, you know, they're really bad, need new ones. Not necessarily. Now, I'm not sure how easy these will come off because I don't take them off that often, but they are prizable up, and I'm going to go with a tool to do that. So I've eased up at the shrouds with a small screwdriver, giving me a little bit more tolerance. Now hopefully using a larger screwdriver I can ease them up. Ease them up. There you go, there's one. There's the other one. There you go. So easy enough to come off. A couple of screwdrivers. Now we can wash that all down with some water. Clean those up. At the moment I'll just clean them up with some water. I'm going to wipe around the tops of those with some tissue. Clean them up a bit. Yeah, most of that's wiping off okay. The pegs. That's it. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll get a little scourer on that. all I've done is I've wiped those over. To get them better, you could use a scrubbing brush, no problem, and that would get all the green off and tidy them up lovely. Or a kitchen scouring sponge. Another option would be to use your teacup, or in this case my cutting compound. Go over with that. Again, that will just tidy them up a bit better. And that's the other one shined up. There's those two shined up. They're not bad, are they? Put them back on there. Back on there. There we go. That's it. And then pop our nice cleaned toilet seat back on there. So this is Clive signing off on this little video. Hope it's going to save you some money. Certainly worth a try. Any DIY person can do this. So you can do it by hand, you can do it with various tools, but hard plastic toilet seats with brown stains will come back. Even if they're a coloured toilet seat, they should come back as long as they're hard plastic. And the reason for that is that some form of injection moulded process when they make the seat, and the colour is all the way through the seat. Now there has to be a couple of warnings when I say that. I do recall one manufacturer which made obsolete coloured toilet seats, and what they did was they took a white toilet seat, hard toilet seat, and they then sprayed it with a polymer paint to reproduce an old colour. It was a way to overcome a problem. I think from memory the brand was called Osprey. They were a traditional egg-shaped toilet seat only, and they were also what we call a wrap-over toilet seat. So if you've got a toilet seat and the brand is on it clearly Osprey, be very cautious, particularly as to colour, because if you try this on one of those seats and you're too rough with it, and I mean you need to be gentle, because you are only polishing the surface, the paint. Unlike these ones, the white ones which I'm doing here, and the original coloured solid plastic toilet seats where the colour goes all the way through. That's me signing off. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and maybe watch some of my other videos. Bye for now.